Utah. Give me 2.
Everybody, what's up? Michael Govier, Chris Deary, the original Palazzo podcast up in here. What is going down? We're excited to be back and doing the show. We're kicking off 2023 in style, the only way we know how, just to be the total bozos that we are. Christopher Deary, it's been a while since we did a show. We covered the free agent frenzy in December, and that's the last time we did a show. So we're way overdue, and I'm very, very pleased that we're finally sitting down doing the damn thing.
Yeah, did the season start already? I feel like we're that far behind.
Dave.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah, that's
true.
Man,
life gets in the way, man. A lot of shit going on in both our lives. So
I know, but I had something been holding me back too, and all this shit been going on in my life, sure. But like I really wanted to get this show rolling, and for some reason I kept running into this hump. And as I'm saying it out loud now, it sounds stupid because the show's so much fun. We love doing this show. We get to talk baseball. It's not a boring show. We entertain ourselves. We inform. We learn. We laugh. And we just talk about whatever we feel like talking about. For some reason, I had like this block building up, and I felt more pressure. Like, we got to get the show going. We got to get the show going. And it's just silly stuff in my brain. I got to get streamlined. I got to get my life right, Deary. I got to get it together. You know what I mean?
Get your ass to Mars, man.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please bear with us. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's basically what it was like in my head. But it doesn't matter now. All that is past. Michael Govier, MJ Govier on Twitter, Christopher Deary, C. Deary, 1999. Of course, Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's.
Utah.
2 Z's.
Give me 2.
That's how it goes down here. Chris, it's February 9th. How do you feel about baseball right now? How do you feel about your prep? Where do you stand on this date?
I'm very excited. I've most of my tiers. I did a lot of kind of, without ranking, just a lot of deep dives into guys I was interested about. Been listening to a lot of podcasts out there that's, help bring me up to speed on a lot of guys, but I'm excited to talk about some stuff today, and hopefully this is going to be more consistent as we gear closer towards spring training.
Damn right it is. We're going to do it. We're going to keep it real. We'll be doing a show a week for sure. We've been doing the prospect show. That's the one consistent thing that's been going, and that's really thanks to Ben. Shout out to Ben. He's been a huge help in that department. Shout out to you, brother. He's been organizing it. We did the show today with Chris Welsh. If you missed that, we talked about first-year player draft analysis, what to do, who to look for, how Chris Welsh approaches it, the man himself from In This League. So if you didn't catch that show on YouTube or in the audio version, make sure you check it out. Oh, shit, look who's here. Brian K. Rodgman. Man, Brian, I feel like I haven't seen you in eons, dude. What is up? Wow. Slow progress, says Brian, is better than no progress. The boys are back, bitches.
Don't you ever fart on my tits again.
I think that's the lesson here, right? Isn't that the lesson?
We got some new drops. I love it.
Oh,
Wow,
we got a lot of drops. We got a lot of... Just so excited. I love this show. I love doing what we do here, and we hope you enjoy it. Don't forget the Discord's free. There's a link I'll drop in the live chat. It's at the top of the page on the Twitter feed. The Patreon has been a total disaster. I suspended payments on that thing because it wasn't even cool. It was just like, there's nothing. It's a waste of time. So, Trust me, I'm working on it, but I will not be charging anybody until further notice, and it's been like that for a bit now because it's just not fair. We're not here to screw anybody or take advantage of anybody. I just wanted to offer something more if I did the extra work. And my goal here now, Deary, is to roll out a series I'm calling Five Guys. Like Five Guys Burgers. Ooh. People like food, right? Do you like burgers?
Burgers are good. I enjoy burgers.
Shocking information. Five Guys, what's better than Five Guys burger-wise?
I mean, burgers are good, but I mean, for me, I'll go with the standard Wendy's double burger. I love that burger. What? It's one of the few fast food burgers that doesn't give me major tummy issues.
Wow, dude, that is okay. I'm surprised that you just said that, but I will say I do like the Wendy's burgers. There's something about the taste. I don't like McDonald's burgers, and Burger King I still think is the standard when it comes to fast food, but I also like White Castle burgers. I do. I know that's not a popular opinion. You have to be shit-faced and blacked out of your mind to enjoy White Castle for the most part, but I think they're good. I've got issues, though, and I need help. Somebody help! Help me! I've got a White Castle crisis in my brain. I think Deary froze up for a minute here, but he'll be back shortly. Either way, guys, the Patreon's going to get rolling with my Five Guys series, so it's real simple. I'm going to be picking 5 guys from each roster that I want to highlight and focus in on. It doesn't have to have anything to do with anything. I'm just going to look over the rosters. I'm still at the tail end of my blackout here, okay? The ADP blackout is ending here as of tomorrow. So this is the final night. I've been ADP free while I've been writing articles for FTN, Grooving with Govier, you can catch on ftnfantasy.com. Totally free. Totally free.
You're my boy, Blue!
I'm your boy at ftnfantasy.com. Read the Grooving with Govier that I wrote. It's free, free, free. I'll say it 87 times if I have to. But you can check out what I talked about Fraley and Olivares, 2 outfielders that I find intriguing. Again, no clue where they're going in ADP. I really don't. I'm not trying to do this to be a contrarian or to be a dick. I just wanted to keep myself fresh with my own perspective. There he is. He's back. Hey, buddy. Welcome back.
I'm going upstairs. I got shit internet down here.
He's got shitnet downstairs. Watch out for shitnet. But my goal is to set up my own rankings and my own projections first before I get myself forever poisoned. Because once you see ADP, this is a fact. This is a damn fact, folks. Once you see ADP, you can't unsee it. Maybe you guys have a memory or a brain where you just forget it. You see it and you're like, oh, I don't remember what I saw an hour ago. That's not how my mind works. Once I see ADP, I see a player's name at a positional situation and where he's being drafted, it is there for all times. Lock that in. That's what happens. So my goal was to avoid that until I had everything set up in my own world. Now I do. And that's what I was talking about in the latest Grooving with Govier over at FTN Fantasy. Shout out to Vlad and Maddie Davis and Eric Cross. Eric Cross is at FTN now. Eric Cross left Fantrax, folks. That is huge, huge news. Shout out to Eric. He's the man. He's no longer there. Eric Cross without Fantrax is like ketchup without mustard. Peanut butter without the jelly, right? It seems stunning that would happen, but he's gone. He gone. And it's a new day at FTN. We got Cross and Maddie Davis and Vlad and Chris Meany. We got a lot of great people over there. So check out the work we're doing at FTNFantasy.com, especially for baseball this season. If you're playing season long, we got you covered. We also have the Dynasty Tip with Cross. Digging it. Love it. Sound Money says absolute draft position. Yeah, that's kind of my bag here, Deary. While you were gone, Deary, I was ranting about how I've truly kept myself free of ADP. I don't know a damn thing about it. I truly don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think last year talking about it, like, fuck ADP. I'm not looking at it all. I'm not looking at it all. My main focus, especially with many of my home leagues this year, is looking at scarcity of positions and really thinking about where I'm drafting a lot of these positions. Most of these we pull out of a hat, and then, you know, say you pull the number 1 pick out of there. Like, you get to pick whichever spot you in the draft. If I pull number 1, I don't want number 1, but I also, in my 16 team league or 15 rotos, I don't want the end of the draft. I'm thinking more towards the middle round right now in terms of where I want to be. It's going to be able to be a lot easier for me to plan out how I want to, you know, make my draft and supplement my team. So I'm looking at that. I have been looking at ADP. It's kind of all over the place. I have a lot of issues with a lot of those guys. We might talk about a couple of them today, and certainly genius. So my ADP is, or my rankings is vastly different than what a lot of ADPs right now look like. As I've been going through my positions, starting to get some rankings together. So it's gonna be really fun once I do start drafting. Have not drafted a team yet. Probably looking late February, early March. I might start my first drafts.
We're going to get all in your face and point out your faults.
Yeah, I haven't drafted at all yet, dear. It's big change for me. No drafts at all. Yeah, it does feel good. I'm happy with it right now. I'm going to break the seal very soon. And the whole point for you guys, ADP is relevant because it tells you what other people are doing overall on average. I get that. So I'm not dismissing it entirely. I'm just talking about what I need for me to be the most successful fantasy baseball player I can be. That's why I'm doing this process. It's not to get attention or, oh, whoa, that's the no ADP guy. That's not going to be my shtick. You know, I don't give a shit about that stuff. I really don't. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I just want you guys to know that. The more you know, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about some takes, some insane fantasy takes. We haven't done that forever. For those of you guys who are original members, show people, I don't know what you call them, listeners, viewers, Deary? What do we call these people?
Patrons. Don't think of it as Patreon. Don't think of it as Patreon, though.
No. We welcome you. Welcome. Come on in,
brethren.
Yeah, well, brothers, sisters, everyone, unite the clans. That's what we're trying to do here. Everybody, come on board. So you old schoolers who know from day one, we used to do insane fantasy takes. We're also going to do Shine or Ride the Pine, which was like the first thing we ever really did on this show, and it's only a preseason thing. So we're breaking it out. We're ready to go. Last year we were sucked out of it because of what happened with the damn lockout, dear. You kind of, took away some of our excitement to do a lot of predictions on projections. But now we have baseball roster is ready to go. We got spring training here, pitchers and catchers reporting next week, and it's time to start making projections. And we're going to use Steve Paulo, friend of the show, been on the show many times. Love Steve. Shout out to Steve. We're going to use his classic stomper projections, Deary, and we'll go over some Shine and Ride the Pine later on in the show. What do you think of that?
I love it. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite segments we do.
It is. It's awesome. I'm really excited about it too. All right, let's cover some of the business as we'd like to do here because, what is a show without a few pieces of information related to business? And fire up the business time here. Get the laundry going. Think about doing some laundry right now. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We got in the Super Bowl, Deary.
Chiefs.
Me too. Could be a tight game, but I just don't see Mahomes losing again. I don't.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, yeah. We're doing the Super Bowl dance here. All right, business time. I already talked about FTN Fantasy, what we're doing over there. Grooving with Govier. Right now it comes out every 2 weeks, but once the season starts, we'll be doing it every week. And this week I tried to do more of a player focus where I did some player comps for 2 different positions. Outfield, third base. I compared Josh Rojas and Matt Chapman at third base, Deary. Interesting. And then I did some deep league outfielders with Jake Fraley and Edward Olivares.
Ooh, I like both those guys. Yeah, that's deep, but hey, man, there's value in those deep picks. You know that.
Again, I don't know what ADP is yet, so I was just thinking of players, regardless of how ridiculous their ADP might be right now, that I think are interesting and that we should take a look at. And I think Fraley and Olivares, as I wrote in the article, a lot of similarities there with steals potential. They're the same age, basically, but one plays in a really, really superior park with the Reds, and the other one plays in Kansas City. But both lineups are also interesting, although that ballpark probably gives the Reds offense an edge over Kansas City's. Would you agree, or do you think both lineups are similar?
I probably like the Royals lineup a little more, but I mean, that Reds park, it's like I was looking deeper into Tyler Stevenson today, and it's just like what that guy does at home. I know he's had some injury issues last year, but it's like rise up the boards playing 81 games at home if you can stay healthy.
Classic. I love Tyler Stevenson. I fell in love with him a couple years ago, and I was so much pain when he got hurt, and he missed so much time last year. But check out Groove with Govier FTN Fantasy. And then, like I said, I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. I'm just saying the Patreon's going to get rolling again. Less talk, just action. I'm doing a Tigers 5 guys thing, which is 5 guys I'm going to pick from the roster just to talk about and give you guys some insight. I'm going to do it for every team, and there's going to be more where that came from. Again, I'll just shut up. I'll show you with action because I'm tired of talking about it and sounding like a hot airbag who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Can't trust it. You're damn right he can't trust it. And then we got the Palazzo Podcast Invitational going, Deary. It's live. It's available. Now, you can't find it on NFBC when you type it in or you look in the lobby. It doesn't show up there. But all you need is the link from us, which you can find in the Discord. We also tweeted about it this week, and I'll drop it in the live chat here if you want to sign up. It's 15-team, standard roto 5x5. It's not a draft champion. Well, it is draft champions. It's just $50 instead of $150, right?
Yeah. How many leagues we at right now? I haven't signed up yet.
I just think we just got it going. So I think we're on the second league. We're building. League 1 started their draft the other day thanks to Russell, my man. Russell was like, where the hell's the Palazzo Invitational? I want to draft. And he got things going.
It's crazy. I forgot about it. I mean, this will be what, year 3, year 4 doing it? I forgot about it.
This is our 3rd year. This will be our 3rd year doing the Invitational. We've had 2 champions now. The original champion was Richard Sands. Shout out to Richard. And then last year, Zachary Nelson won. So those are the 2 champs. We'll see if we get a first 2-time champion, or we'll get another first-time winner. We did 5 leagues last year. There's an overall component. You can win the individual league to win the league title and the money. You also win the overall. So it's a copycat of the main event or some of the bigger leagues they have. Except it's draft champions. There's no fab, so you don't have to do anything else, right, Deary? It's just you draft and you set your lineups all season. That's it.
I'm hoping to see a better performance out of yourself and I this year. It's 2 years. It's been rough for both of us. It's been gross.
Child, please.
It's been over in the first 2 months. I'm like, this is my worst team.
Oh my God. I don't know who's winning. I got to tell you this. It's been a really, really poor performance for us, so we really are under the gun. In Draft Champions has been my weakest format, Deary. I've really struggled with the you draft and you're stuck with your team situation. It's not best ball because you got to set your lineups, but it's basically that. You have a team and you're stuck with it. I'm no Rob DiPietro for damn sure, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, we all have our specialty that we're great at. I mean, I think a head-to-head Cats League is what I've always been the best at because I've played the most of it. Definitely improved a ton in Roto last year. Didn't play much Roto growing up, but it's those draft and holds and best balls I've had a hard time with in the last couple of years.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, we've been total trash. We're going to try to do better. We're going to make ourselves competitors in DC. So sign up for the Palazzo Podcast Invitational, $50, unlimited leagues. If a league fills, the draft will start the next day, and a new one will just start to build. So we'll do as many leagues as you guys are willing to sign up. You can only sign up one time, so don't worry about like, oh, I signed up twice. It should just be one and done, and they won't let you do two. So don't worry about that. NFBC.com is where it all happens, the National Fantasy Baseball Championships. I'm going to be in Las Vegas next month, Deary. I'll be doing my main event draft for the second year in a row, live and in person in Vegas. That's right. Look at me. I'm a big deal, but I'm looking forward to that because you get to meet people in real life and you draft. I mean, last year I finished in 9th place in that main event league, Deary. It's not a great performance, but it was really, 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 really tough. Paul Spohr, Justin Mason, Scott Jenstead, Dalton Del Don, I mean, Jeff Zimmerman. I mean, this thing was loaded. It was really, really tough.
You said you finished 9th last year?
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, you basically got your money back, right? Okay.
Yeah, I finished top 3 in my league, which is get your money back.
That's exciting going back to Vegas for you. That'd be sweet.
Man, I don't know if can I pull this off?
Whatever, motherfucker!
Nobody cares. But look, yeah, that's going to be happening. So check out the Palazzo Podcast Invitational. I'm dropping the link in the live chat. Follow us on Twitter, 2 L's, 2 Z's. You know the drill on that one.
Give me 2.
And then, of course, YouTube, subscribe. Let's get to push to 400 subs. You know, we've been around for a few years now. We should have more subscribers than this. We really should. We're informative and we're entertaining. There's rarely a show out there that is like the show that we provide you, just as long as we do it every week. That's the key, right? So as long as we do it. But by the way, I was thinking about Christina today because I saw this game. It's a new Harry Potter video game. Is she aware of this?
We're aware. We're aware. The problem is we don't have a PS5. The PS4 version doesn't come out until April. I'm already seeing fantastic reviews. So I'm like, I think we might have to wait. I don't think we're shelling out the money for a PS5. But when that does come out, I'm like, get your PTO in now.
I saw a trailer for it this morning when I woke up just randomly because I was on Reddit and I was like, what is this? And damn, it looked really cool. And I'm not like the biggest Harry Potter fan. Deary's wife is a big Harry Potter fan, so I figured she probably had her eyes on that one. It looks pretty. It's open world, just like a lot of these open world games, and you get to be at Hogwarts. It looks like a lot of fun. I admit that freely. Sound Money clarified here saying that the drafts actually start sooner than the next day for the Palazzo Invitational. So if it fills up, the draft basically starts like the next hour. Yeah. And I think that's correct. So I was incorrect to say that the draft starts the next day. It actually starts like right after the 15th person joins. Mm-hmm. And they'll notify you like draft starts in an hour. Right?
Yeah, but at least it's not like a 15-minute clock. You got a while.
That's true. And it's a slow draft too. It's a 2 hour. It's
2 or 4. I think it's
actually someone who's doing it right now, like Russell or somebody, chime in, let us know. I think I asked for the 2 hour clock, not the 4.
Yeah, I think it's 2.
Yeah. Oh, Sound Money's saying it's 2. Yep. Okay, cool. 2, and Sound Money's in it right now, so he knows. That's direct from the horse's mouth. Thank you, Sound Money, also known as Bob Dole. He's Bob Dole in the Discord. So, Bob Dole. YouTube, subscribe right now. If you've never subscribed, do it right now. 5-star review, Apple Podcasts, blah, 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 Spotify. You know all this shit. Please help us out. Let's grow the show. Let's move into some more fun as we head into 2023 with a bang. We got a season preview to kick off on this show. Man, it feels good to be a gangster, Deary. It feels good to be alive. And I'm not taking it for granted. And neither should you, as we now have to move into our next segment. Deary, any questions before we continue on the show known as the Palazzo Podcast?
No, I think I've done this before. Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Okay, great. Well, since you've been around, you know the next segment is Leading Off. It's nice to hear that. I haven't heard that in a long time. So in today's Leading Off, we're keeping it simple. We do a lot of segments during the regular season. What do, Deary? What do we do with the Mark Morrison?
Return of the Mac. If you come back from the DL, you're going to get a chime in from Mr. Mark Morrison.
Oh, yeah, we love doing that. And, of course, when May comes around, it's gotta be May. I'll throw that out there. A lot of fun stuff. We're silly, but we like to make it entertaining and not just like, Deary, you say you've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. What podcasts draw you in? Like, what is it about? Do you just want to hear information, or what are the shows that are really grabbing your attention?
I mean, it's all information because, I want more fun, but I like quick hitters. When they do fantasy baseball today has always been really good because it's quick and it's straight to the point. That's what makes us different is we're fucking around, we're having some fun. That's what I like, the entertainment value. But I've just been kind of catching up on a lot of it is fantasy baseball today stuff. Frank Stample and Scott White and Towers, just because they're quick to what I need to get in terms of information of catching up.
That's fair. And they do it well. They've been doing it well for a long, long time. Hey, Jay-Bird, what's up, man? Hey, all Vegas this year. We were just talking about Vegas, Jay-Bird, before you popped in. I'll see you there next month, March 23rd, I believe, at the Mirage this year. Last year was Bellagio, Deary. This year's the Mirage. I've never been to the Mirage, so I know. Was that the place where the Tigers ate the two magician dudes?
I don't know. I don't know where they performed at.
Seems like they did.
I don't think they ate both of them. I know one of them got mangled.
What was it? What was one of their names?
Siegfried and Roy?
Siegfried and Roy, that's right. Thank you. Well done. Woohoo! Sal Money says, go Tigers. Okay, sure.
Go Tigers.
There you go. That's just for you, buddy. Moobot says, follow Ben Chase on Twitter. Big Gentle Ben. Sure, why not? Follow Ben. Follow Deary. See Deary 1999. I'm an MJ Govier myself. And, of course, Blossom Podcast. 2 L's.
Utah.
2 Z's.
Give me 2.
All right, so let's get into our first catch of the day.
Good. Our first catch of the day.
So for this segment, I want to talk about the rule changes. The catch of the day, there's been a lot of talk about it. In fact, I've heard some really good things. I haven't been able to read it yet because I have to buy it. But The Process, written by Tanner Bell, who's also a local Michigander, by the way, lives over in Shelby. I think he lives on the east side over there somewhere. Where you used to grow up, Deary. And him and Jeff Zimmerman write The Process every year. And I heard that the new process has some interesting stuff about the rule changes. So I'm wondering, how much stock are you putting into the rule changes? Also, not just the rule changes, but the schedule change too. So there's a lot of changes for this season that we really need to take into consideration with the schedule not being so divisional dominant anymore. And of course, the pitch clock, limited opportunities to throw to first, and no shifts.
What's your question?
Yes. You guys
there?
Yeah.
So how am I taking stock into this?
What are you doing with it?
Haven't done it yet, and I think the one that is probably going to have the biggest impact will be the shift ban. You need to look at the players from the last couple of years who could have huge bounce backs. Guys that I know that it affects probably the most. The Corey Seagers of the world, Kyle Schwarber, Jose Ramirez. It's a lot of left-handed bats, and Anthony Rizzo, a Shohei Ohtani. A lot of those guys hit a lot of balls towards that pulled-in shift. I think Seager had the most last year. So that's the one that I'm looking at most. Really, the one that's so interesting is, and I don't know how to quantify it because we just don't know yet, is the pitch clock and then the bases being a little bigger. We expect that we're going to see a bump. I was just getting a Yingling delivered. All right.
Yeah.
We expect that we're going to see a bump in stolen bases, but who does that affect? Is it, a Trey Turner? Is he going to go from 30 steals to possibly 40 steals? A guy that maybe only gives you 4 or 5 steals? Is there a possibility he gets to 10? So the intriguing part is, we all know that steals can be very limited and it's very hard to find. As you're looking into this year, those guys, maybe Gleyber Torres gets back to having 15 to 17 stolen bases. So it might not be too hard to find steals, but we're not going to be able to quantify it in the preseason. So I don't think it would change too much of my drafting at this point.
I did some research on this when I wrapped up last year in a Groovin' with Govier that I wrote, and I learned that, first off, the bigger bases really won't mean anything based on what we know about the minor leagues and how those were used there. And with the pitch clock, that's going to affect certain pitchers who are going to be frustrated by it. Actually, catchers, it could be a problem for some of them as well because they might not be comfortable with it. And some of them might not be able to play certain days because they might not have the groove that a pitcher requires. And I just think there's a lot of weird changes that go into Because we just take for granted that every player, Deary, is going to be like, all right, well, we just adjust and we move forward. Not every player is going to do that, right? Isn't that why we do this shit? Isn't that why we talk about this stuff? Because we're trying to figure out, wow, where can we gain an edge? And what player will let you down this year? What player will go beyond their expectations? This is our concern, dude. Looks like you're muted, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, I had to mute so I could crack my Yingling, which I don't have to mute for that. Yeah, I think
no, absolutely not.
The interesting part with this pitch clock is like some pitchers need that extra time in between pitches, one to mentally focus into, what they really want to throw next. But some of them need that just to kind of take a little bit of stress off your arm. I mean, you're going back and forth, like constantly pitching. And to your point with catchers, like, you got to be on the ball and ready at all times. And, once you get to the point, and the one rule I hate the most is, not having unlimited times to throw over to first base. Like, you're going to have to be really strategic with that. So it'd be interesting to see how this affects pitchers going forward.
That is bullshit.
How it's going to be taxing on, some of the catchers as well. It's going to be really interesting when you're in Texas in the absolute insane heat where it's like, man, we got to close this roof. It is too damn hot when the pitcher's got no break in between pitches. You got to go. As a pitcher myself, I would have loved this because I was a fast worker anyways, because I wanted to get back into the dugout so I could sit my ass down.
Okay, dude, I'm excited about how these rule changes will look, how we're going to see the effect on our teams. I can't wait for baseball. I can't wait for 2023. I can't wait for this all to go down. I'm excited for life. I'm excited about what players will let us down, what players will thrive, who's going to come out of nowhere. There's going to be a lot of talk. Remember last year, nobody talked about Taylor Ward, and he ended up coming out of nowhere and really kicking some serious butt in May. I will give shout out to Joe Gentile. He was the one guy, supposedly, that I ever found who went on the record prior to the season starting that Taylor Ward would be something unique. So, Joe, I miss you. If you're out there, if you're hearing the show today or seeing this later, I hope you're doing well, my friend. I miss you. You're a good man. But I'm just really wondering how much the steals will go up. They're going to go up. I know they are. Because not only, forget the rule changes for a second, Deary. The rule changes are almost secondary to the fact that baseball is intentionally trying to reformat the game. They are. Mm-hmm. That's not a secret. It really isn't at all.
And they completely goddamn disrespected me, little idiots! Idiots!
They might be idiots, but the man himself, Theo Epstein, has been on the record saying, we did this huge poll and everybody says they want to see more athleticism and action and shorter games, tighter game times. They want to see more in the field, less 3 true outcomes. This is intentional. So this is baseball's agenda, to make the game more lively and filled with action as opposed to the 3 true outcomes. So forget the rule changes. This is just a part of that overall plan. And I think we have to be really cognizant of that. And it's not something you could quantify. It's just something I know. I mean, do you disagree with any of that?
No, I absolutely agree. And I don't like change when it comes to sports, but in the end, I really think this is necessary. I don't think it's going to bring on all these new people to like the game, but those of us that are getting sick of these 3.5 slog games between the Red Sox and Yankees, you're really interested to see like what the ET ends up being for a lot of these games. Do we finish?
How'd you feel about
hours for a lot of these games? Are we going to see games that are 2 hours?
Change.
That could be fun too.
Yep, I'm down for that. I'm just excited to see the amount of steals that go up. They're going to go up. Lock it in now. All the money in the world. Whatever the total amount of steals in all of Major League Baseball were in 2022, I guarantee they'll go up at least 1, maybe by 20, because this is what they want. So I'm excited to see new managers. So we got new managers with new philosophies possibly taking over in spots where we had a lot of, the Royals again. They had Matheny for a long time and his really kind of, it's my way or the highway type deal. Now they've got Mike Quattro now from the Rays, a new manager, a fresh face, someone who's been getting a lot of interviews over the last few years and finally got a job. Randy Arozarena stole 32 bags last year, so why can't a guy like Edward Olivares take off, or Bobby Witt Jr. or Kyle Isbell? There could be more steals from that team this season. And if steals become more prevalent, Deary, this is the last part I want to say about this. If steals become less scarce, then that changes draft strategies, right?
Oh, absolutely. You think of like the years where Whit Merrifield was going in the 3rd or 4th round, it was strictly on steals.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. So that's my bet. And I don't know if I'm going to change from this stance much more going forward. I think I'm kind of locked in on it. Lock that in. I know people fear change, but Sometimes change could be fun.
I mean, I also think it makes drafting a lot more exciting. You're not going to be as stressed to be like, oh my God, where am I going to find steals? You're going to be able to, if this becomes true that we believe there's going to be steals, and there's no reason to think that there's not going to be, you can be able to build a roster with like 5 or 6 guys that can give you 15 to 20 bags, and you don't have to reach for them.
Absolutely. Hell yes. See?
How would you feel about making a change? We fear change.
I don't fear change. I'm down with it. Look, I wanted to ask you about this because I don't know who these people are, but apparently they've been writing at Rotographs for a while, and I'm clueless. Have you ever heard of the Birchwood Brothers?
No.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Birchwood Brothers either. And I found this article on Rotographs. It was from Jeff Zimmerman on Twitter. And they're basically saying that they're really, really smart baseball dudes. They're brothers. They're 2 siblings. It says, in the 4 years we've played in the TGFBI, which is mainly for fantasy pundits, as they describe it, which is not always true, but it is. We finished in the overall top 23 times, a record equaled only by the amazing Dylan White, who, by the way, Dylan White, do you know who Dylan White is, Deary?
No.
See? We don't know anything. We're clueless losers on this show. What the hell do we know about anything? Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to the Birchwood Brothers. I don't know either of you, all 3 of you. I'm not familiar with you guys, but Dylan White I've been hearing a lot of good things about. Jeff Ponce came on the Prospects Power Half Hour last week, and they brought Dylan White into Baseball America. So I've learned a lot more about Dylan, but these Birchwood Brothers are interesting. I don't know who they are. So if you guys know who the Birchwood Brothers are, please drop it in the live chat. Fill me in. I want to know more. I want to learn about things. Brian K. Rodgman says Scott Pasednik, guys, may be in play.
What's that, Nick? Billy Hamilton.
Billy. What was remember that one guy in the Mariners? Like, people just would always get him for steals only. This was in the last 10 years. That's all he did was steal bags. He played in Seattle.
Fuck.
Oh, shit. I'm not, his name's escaping me, but he couldn't hit for power. He could just steal bags. And we all thought, I'm just gonna look up like the 2012. How about the 2011 Seattle Mariners?
Yeah, you might get some fun names.
Yeah, so he was on that roster. I bet he's on this roster. As soon as I see his name, I'd be like, oh, it's that dude. The guy who stole a bunch of bases, but he never did anything else. No, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing Dustin Ackley. Remember him? That was
big prospect that never did anything.
Yeah, that one never really happened. He was a huge prospect. Not D. Strange. No, it's not D. Strange Gordon. It was another dude. God, I just can't think of his name right now. But I can see him trying to steal a base. He was a Mariner once upon a time. That's all I got. It's not very informative. Either way, if you know who it is, drop it in the live chat and follow us on Twitter. Plots of Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Did you know who was the manager of the Seattle Mariners in 2013, Deary? Do you have any idea?
Terrible with managers. You know that.
There's no way I would have been able to guess this either. It was Eric Wedge. Do you remember Eric Wedge?
Yeah, I remember Eric Wedge.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. So
I just found out today that Bruce Bochy's back in the league.
He is.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
Bruce Bochy's trying to win another World Series and try to prove it wasn't just being a San Francisco Giant as he takes on the job. Actually, coming in at a really good time to be the Texas Rangers manager because they look pretty interesting. There's some fun fantasy assets there. All right. God damn it. I can't even move on from the show because I want to know this guy's name so bad.
I'm trying to find it.
It's driving me bonkers. If somebody gets in the live chat, let me know. Oh, Guile's here. If steals increase, what up, Guile, my man? We love Steve. Steve's the best.
No, come on.
Steve's a wizard. My friend Steve, our friend Steve, is a genius when it comes to baseball. If steals increase across the board, then every fantasy team's stolen base total will rise. Those players who already run are likeliest to take advantage of the rule changes. Go get that volume swiper now more than ever.
Ooh, that's the way Steve thinks. I have like half a brain. Steve has 4.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Same for me, of course. Ryan Ireland, what's up, Ryan? Good to see you, my friend. He says Dylan White is one of the best we got in the Great White North. He's Canadian. Of course he is. Canadians, there's a lot of Canadians in fantasy baseball know what they're doing. Some of the smartest people in the game. Proudly from the Maple Country. God, that guy was like was his name Nigel? Maybe his name was Nigel. No, there's no Nigel, right? It's like some goofy name. It really is. It was like
making plans for Nigel.
Nilly, making plans for Nigel.
I think you're getting close.
Yeah, it's like Nilly. No, Nilly. Come on, Mike. What are you saying? It's not Andy Chavez. It's not Austin Jackson. These are all former Seattle Mariners from 2014. Nick Franklin. Remember Nick Franklin? He failed. That didn't work out.
He failed.
Yeah, that did not work out at all, did it?
Did this guy also play for the Pirates?
I don't think so. I'm sure he probably played in like one other team, but it's not Franklin Gutierrez, that's for sure. Oh, Ricky Weeks. Remember Ricky Weeks? He was fun. He was a good player. Struck out a lot, but Ricky Weeks was a rock solid baseball player. Yeah, I liked him. I had him on a few fantasy teams. Leonis Martin. It's not Leonis Martin. And it's not Dai-Ho Lee. Yeah.
I got to figure this out. I spend the whole podcast figuring it out.
We were doing a great show, and then Mike just couldn't let it go. He was thinking about some guy who stole a bunch of bases back in the day. Yeah, I blew it, guys. I'm sorry. All right, I'll move on from it, but if we get to this, it's not Sean Figgins. No. Dave says Sean Figgins. It is not Sean Figgins. That's not who I'm thinking of. He was an outfielder. I'm very confident that he was an outfielder, super speedster, played within the last 15 years, like 12 to 15 years. Guile says Mark McLemore. No, that's too far back. Not Mark McLemore. Ryan says Dylan White's a very smart dude. Yes, he is. Oh, Jimmy, what's up, Jimmy? Jimmy's been a newcomer to the show over the last couple months. What's up, Jimmy? He says, you guys rock. Well, shit, man. Thanks. Appreciate that. You're a good American or Canadian or whatever country you're from. We welcome all faiths to the Palazzo Podcast.
You know what's funny is you could be thinking a guy that wasn't even on the Mariners. That's very...
I'm telling you. That's the thing I'm most confident about this. He was a skinny speedster on the Mariners. But you're right. If it comes back to me where I got that part wrong, then I might have to go to rehab. I am just a fool. I could be totally lost, and I don't know anything anymore. I guess I've been sitting on ass too much.
Good at what? Sitting on ass?
Okay, anyways, I'm not going to worry about that now. I'd like to focus in now what we used to call, well, we still call it. It hasn't really changed, but it was called Insane Fantasy Takes. It's a lot of fun where we talk about radical possibilities for the upcoming baseball season. Play to the tune of Cypress Hill's Insane in the Membrane. So, oh my God, I got the worst foot cramp right now, Deary. It's horrible. Let's fire this up. Oh my God, it's killing me. Oh, it hurts so bad.
Insane Fantasy Takes.
Why you taking that player?
Insane Fantasy Takes.
Why you taking that player?
Insane Fantasy Takes.
Why you taking that player?
Insane Fantasy Takes.
Why you taking that player? You must be insane.
Must be insane.
It's probably the dumbest part right there. All right, so Insane Fantasy Takes. It's real simple. We just try to have some fun with it. Who cares if we're right or wrong? The whole point is just going to get radical. So I'm thinking I'm just going to start simple. I started with my article, Grooving with Govier on ftnfantasy.com the other day. I think it's an easy call that Edward Olivares will steal at least 20 bases this year. There you go. That's my first Insane Fantasy Take. Maybe that's not... There it is! There it is! He got it! Thank you, Dave!
Malik Smith?
Yes! That's him!
Yeah. I don't think that was that long ago, actually. That actually might have been the last, 7 years.
Yeah, I was thinking 10 minimum. And, 2016 to 2020, I was too early. He did finish with Seattle, but he started in Atlanta, played with the Rays, and played the last 2 years in Seattle. He stole 46 bags in 2019 for Seattle. Wow. That was that recent? That was only 3 years ago. Holy cow. Man. But that's him. Dave, you nailed it, dude. You're the man. Dave Shelvin, making it happen. I've met Dave. Dave is also a local Michigander. He worked at Roto-World, or what used to be called Roto-World. We met in Vegas last year, Dave. Hoping to see you again next month, dude. Great call. Jaybird says, I knew it. He was a Braves prospect. Yeah. Jimmy says he's here for the Olivares, Drew Waters, Kyle Isbell content. Huh. Well, we haven't covered Drew Waters yet, but maybe he'll show up. Deary, why don't you take a spin on the old Insane Fantasy Takes wheel? What do you got?
All right. So my spin is second base. That is a place that is scarce that I actually think you need to plan out your draft accordingly. There's a guy who had an amazing breakout last year, and there's certainly reasons why it wouldn't happen this year. He had a 353 BABIP last year. Can he continue to be as good on the off-speed stuff as he was last year? Guy that both of us liked a lot last year. I'm going to say that Andres Jimenez ends up the number 1 fantasy second baseman in 2023.
Wow!
Insane fantasy takes.
That is impressive. He's going to take another leap?
Yeah. So and like what we saw last year might be his ceiling. Right now, they're slotting him at 5th in the order, which is going to just boost up his RBI numbers out of the roof, especially with Jose Ramirez batting 3rd, Josh Bell in the cleanup spot, who also gets on base a ton. I mean,
oh no. Where did you go? Boo-doo-doo-doo-boo-boo. Where did you go? Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Where did you go? Where'd Deary go? Where did he go, guys? Deary left us. He'll be right back. He's just frozen in time. How do you guys want to kill this time? Malik Smith, man. That's all he was steals, right? I mean, what else could Malik Smith really provide us besides steals? I can't think of much else. But he was a lot of fun, I will say that. So I can't believe Dave nailed it. Dave, I'm so happy right now. I guess it's hard to do a show live and try to think of the answer. I would have gotten that usually, I feel like. Anyways, where'd you go, Deary? Kyle says 30 seconds on Ellie De La Cruz. Is YouTube going to kick us off because we're playing this? Did I play it like for less than 30 seconds? Is that fair use? What's fair use? 30 seconds or less? This is Where Did You Go by the Boston. I got to turn it off in case they kick us off. Lame. Jaybird says, are you doing the Midnight Madness draft? Me? No, I am not doing the Midnight Madness draft this year. I did it last year. It is, for those that don't know, you're unaware, it's literally at midnight. It happens when you go to Vegas for the main event drafts and the big Vegas weekend that NFBC does. It's a yearly event. And last year I did it at Mike the Mouth, who throws this big party in a suite at the Bellagio last year. There's a draft that starts at midnight. And I did it. And then I didn't get to bed till after 3 a.m. And then the main event draft was the next morning at 11 a.m. And I felt like I was too rushed. And it was not a good call for me. It was a rookie mistake. I think it's fun. I didn't win either, so maybe I'm like, I didn't win. But not winning has never stopped me. I'm always ready to try again. Right, Deary?
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what's going on with my internet. I might have to hotspot in as we get into this.
That's okay.
So, yeah.
You were on a roll there. You were talking about Andres Jimenez.
Yeah, Andres. I don't know where you left off, but yeah, I mean, he had an incredible season last year. I love the spot in the lineup that he's projected to be at. His K percentage dropped a ton last year. One of the most consistent players last year. He's a 5th rounder who could be a safe bet to be a tier 2 guy this year. Why it may not happen, 353 BABIP last year. Can he continue to be so good on the off-speed stuff? And he does chase a lot of stuff. Is there a way that he continues to bet 336 against left-handed pitching? And if it doesn't go well, does he end up dropping in the order a ton? Or does he end up flipping with Rosario and end up batting second? So I like him as a safe pick at 3 guys, and second base is so scarce. So he's someone that I am trying to target this year.
I like it. I mean, I loved him last year. I think I got him on average about 240. His ADP was probably around there last year, Andres Jimenez.
Yeah.
And he ended up returning great value. He had a really, really solid year. And he's a keeper. He's a guy I really like. I think it wasn't a fluke at all.
He's 24 years old.
Yeah. He was a key part of the Lindor trade. So it wasn't Ahmad Rosario that they wanted. I believe it was really Jimenez was the key to that trade.
Yeah. I like what Cleveland's doing with their offense. Cleveland's a team that is going to run a ton.
Ooh. Yeah, Stephen Kwan was a fun player last year. Didn't hit for a lot of power, but to see a guy who's hitting for average like that, and there might be more guys like what Cleveland's doing. Cleveland's going to hit for more contact. They're going to hit. I think Cleveland will be top 5 in batting average this year as a team. I really do. Because they look around what they got on the roster. There's guys you're like, oh, well, he can hit for average and he can make contact. It's a team that got rid of guys like Franmil Reyes, right? Mm-hmm. And said, this isn't what we want to be doing. And then again, Franmil. Franmil's going to Franmil. Is that what he says about himself? I don't know.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Outside Mike Zunino, who, maybe Bo Naylor takes over for him.
That's true. They did bring in Mike Zunino. That just kind of blew up my argument.
I hope that ends immediately because Bo Naylor's a guy who stole 20 bases in the minors. So you got, just kind of looking at the roster right here, you got 5 or 6 guys that could have upwards to 20 steals, and almost their whole lineup outside of Zunino most likely are going to bat 255 and above.
You think so? Okay. Ooh, that's fun. Yeah, look at that. Look at these guys and tell me that you're not down, right? Stephen Kwan, Ahmed Rosario, Ramirez. I mean, Jose Ramirez was one of 4 guys at third base last year to steal at least 20 bags. That was Jose Ramirez, Josh Rojas, Bobby Witt, and I'm missing someone else, but there was 4 of them who did it. Josh Bell's a nice addition. We already talked about Jimenez. Josh Naylor, I really love his bat. I think he's going to continue to improve and make more contact this year. Oscar Gonzalez can crush the ball. I don't know if he's much of a contact guy, but this is a lineup that's Miles Straw. Miles Straw. What else can we say? I need like a really, I don't have a good drop, but it's Troll Toll. How about Troll Toll? Yeah. If you draft Miles Straw, you're going to pay the Troll Toll. That's for sure. So consider not doing that. Brian says, you nailed it. Zing! Nice job. Man, we are flying high. It says we got a great turnout tonight, too. I want to thank all you guys for showing up live to the show. That makes us feel good. It's like, all right, we got our crew here. We're assembling. We're only going to build further from here. I'm digging it. All right, I'll go back to me now. Insane fantasy takes. How about this one, dearie? Get ready, because here I come. I am going to go on the record here. I'm going to say that the one and only Joey Wentz will finish with 132 innings pitched.
Insane fantasy takes.
What do you think of that one, huh? It's pretty ridiculous, right? He doesn't even know what to say. He's speechless.
Somebody has to pitch for that fucking god-awful team.
You damn right they do. And Joey Wentz is a guy
Go Tigers.
who will never, in anyone's wildest dreams, would he pitch 132 innings. Out of Rhythm says, O'Neal Cruz MVP. There you go. I like that. Let's do it. Let's ride or die. Throw out your guys' insane fantasy takes while you're at it, just like my man Jamie did there. But I think Joey Wentz is healthy, and he's a key part of this rotation with no Casey Mize and Scooble on the shelf. There's a lot of arms, actually, that Detroit could use this season in the rotation. It could be patchwork. So it's possible that maybe Joey Wentz sticks to like 80 to 100 innings. But if we can get 132 innings out of Joey Wentz, I think you're looking at a really solid SP4, at least, on your fantasy rotation. I would go that high. He's only 25, so he's not an old man he's not someone where you fear like, well, it's too late for him to get it together. It's not the case at all, Deary. There's a lot of time for him. I know that, you look at his Fangraphs page, he pitched 103 innings at Double-A in 2019, which was for him like a lifetime ago. Joey Wentz has had a lot of injury issues. For those that are somehow unclear, Joey Wentz, arm issues. He's had Tommy John. I think he had a shoulder issue as well. He's been really, really, really put through the ringer since he was drafted by the Braves back in the day. So, if we can get a nice 132 innings out of Joey Wentz this year, I think that's a guy that you're going to want to draft universally all over the board, because late in the season last year, though he didn't strike out as many guys as I would have liked, I liked what I saw. I think we're looking at a guy who can limit contact, keep your whip nice and tight. Could he his K9 up around 9 with a whip around 1.05 to 1.10, I think. Well, I think that's a pitcher you want.
You said an upside of an SP4, and you're probably drafting him more like an SP6 or 7.
Exactly. That's right. Isn't that the whole point of like, let's call our shot here, get a really cheap deal on a guy like Wentz and get a better return. We want to draft guys that are dismissed, who are going to provide value way beyond where they're being drafted. That's it. That's the name of the game. End of story. So I know it's silly, but I think Joey Wentz can do it this year. Maybe I should have said 150 if I want to get real radical with it. Dear, you got one more you want to throw at us?
Yeah, it's so funny that he brought up O'Neal Cruz, because I have a take. I don't know how insane this is, because O'Neal Cruz could be so bad that he ends up in the minors, or he could end up being a first-round pick next year. Like, he's one of the most intriguing players this year. I think O'Neal Cruz goes 30, 30, 200. So he has 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, 200 strikeouts. Woo! Whatever he hits, he destroys. And, the batting average was really bad last year, but he did bat 2.8 in September and October. It's 17 home runs and 10 stolen bases with 126 Ks and 361 plate appearances. Right now the Pirates have him batting leadoff. They probably need to find a better leadoff man because he only batted 150 against lefties last year. And the hype train is there. Like he's going 7th shortstop off the board right now. I actually have him outside of the top 10 of shortstops just because that batting average is going to be bad, and he's going to go through some struggles. I think he struck out 35% of the time last year. But he never was that bad in the minors in terms of strikeout rate being that bad. So bring that back to like 28%, and that could still be bad, but that is still so much better than it was last year. Obviously, he had the hardest hit ball in the StatCast era last year, which ended up only being a single to right field because he scorched it so hard off that right.
And he threw the hardest ball from shortstop.
I mean, he's just an insane athlete. He's probably not going to see many fastballs. He's going to see a ton of off-speed stuff, and the slider absolutely killed him. I actually think the value of him with ADP right now, I think last time I checked, his ADP was a little too high for me. ADP is at 75. Which I think is actually just a little too high, but people are, all over the hype train of him. I have him in a keeper league. I'm actually trying to ship him off and trying to build up that hype a little more to maybe get some guys back. But I mean, this guy's an insane talent, and it'd be really interesting to see what he does this year.
I like it, dude. I know people are in love with him, and I'm not on the hype train, but I would be a fool to ignore his prodigious physical talent. Jaybird says the link doesn't work for the Plaza Podcast Invitational. Well, there's a reason for that. I dropped it in the live chat. Why doesn't it work, Deary?
I don't know. I'm no IT man.
Oh, though. You do know. It's not about IT.
Oh, yeah. What am I missing?
It's this. Yeah.
Oh, I'm in Michigan.
Yep, Jay's up north. He's in Michigan, and if you are in Michigan, technically you can't draft on NFBC, but hit me offline. I may
There's
be
some
able to help
workarounds.
you.
There's some.
I might be able to try to figure this out for you. No guarantees, but I'll see what I can do. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So, but everybody else, if you're in a state where works, that link is in the live chat. It's ready to rock. Make sure you jump in. And I think Ryan posted earlier on in the live chat, and he said, let's get this draft filled up so we can start drafting right now, which sounds like a lot of fun, actually. I could kind of go for a draft myself. It does sound like a good time. Does it not? Maybe throw on a nice Coors?
I can't wait to draft. Coors.
We're going to Glarf.
I have a 24-ounce Coors in my fridge that I found the other day. I hate metallic Coors beer, but I might save it for next week pod.
This right here is a silver bullet, all the way from Colorado.
Sounds delicious, Deary. Yeah, we're going to Glarf next month, so we got a draft coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we got to go. We got to go.
We're going.
I'm totally in.
You and I, we're going. We're driving out there. We're going to be there.
3rd or 4th? Yeah, I'm in.
We're going out. Sarah Sanchez is hosting, just like she did last year at her shout out to Sarah, who won Glarf last year, reigning Glarf champion, Sarah Sanchez. Round of applause for her. She won in thrilling fashion and stunning fashion last year, an epic final day to win the Great Lakes Area Roto Fantasy League. It was really cool.
Glarf was amazing last year. I was in the lead for probably 75%
you were.
of the season. Then I dipped down at the end. Jenny got really hot at the end, and Sarah, and then you started to climb the ranks. And most importantly, Glarf won the overall.
That's huge. I feel great about that. Our league is good. And if you don't know what Glarf is, it's part of a greater overall product. You hear a lot about TGFBI and things like that, but Earth is, I think, the most comprehensive, competitive fantasy baseball tournament / league there is, right? Because you've got every region. Glarf is the Great Lakes Area League. We're one of 10 leagues. There's one in Texas. There's one in Southern California. There's one in Northern California. There's one in Northwest. There's one in the Northeast and Maine and New York and all that stuff. So anybody who does play and covers fantasy baseball for a living is in this thing. It's called Earth. If you're not familiar with it, you can check it out. I think there's actually a Twitter handle for Earth I'll try to find, but it's something we should all be aware of if you're not.
Yeah, and what I love about it so much about being a part of this league is it's so many people that we've interacted with, whether we've been on their pod or they've been on our pod, people that in the industry that write articles, there's a lot of engagement between everybody. I mean, we know everybody in Glarf. I'm going to get the chance to meet all of them, come March, and I'm super excited about that. And then obviously there's the winning team gets to present a check to a nonprofit, organization or a charity, which gives that extra boost of like, hey, we all pay, I think, $150 for it, but a portion of that comes out, and then we give away to a great cause.
Hell yeah.
Flawless victory.
It's awesome. There is a charitable aspect. I forgot to mention that. I'm glad you brought that up. Very cool. Out of Rhythm Sports says, Hunter Green, where do you guys think he'll be overall in pitching this year? Hunter Green of the Cincinnati Reds.
Blown out arm? God damn. He throws
triple-digit fastball?
I think he had the most pitches over 100 miles per hour last year. And when he died, and the thing was, when he dialed it down a little bit and it was still at 98, 99, he still got hit pretty hard, but there's massive upside with him.
Too many cooks.
Yeah, he throws really hard, but how dynamic is his fastball? It's just like you said, throw it hard as you want, but if it's straight down the middle, it doesn't matter. Yeah. People will crush it. These are professional hitters. In case you haven't heard, these are professional baseball players. So I'm not as stoked to jump on the Hunter Green bandwagon, especially because of his home ballpark too. That is a bummer. And the fact that they're not just going to be playing the NL Central heavy anymore. They're going to be branching out. If you look at the Reds schedule, you're going to be like, oh crap. Well, they're going to be playing other offenses now that you didn't really want them to be playing. So
there's been plenty of guys over the history of baseball that threw really hard, but in 2023, throwing 100 miles per hour isn't that impressive anymore. You need some secondary stuff.
Because I want to fit in.
Yeah, you want to fit in, Hunter Green, but you're going to have to change your game a little bit. All right, we're live here on the Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's, of course. And now we're going to close the show out.
Utah, give me 2.
With Shine or Ride the Pine. We're finally going to do it, man. Shine or Ride the Pine time is here. It's long overdue. I've been waiting to do this for a long while. But... Deary, we are going to start this off with Stomper Projections. Steve Paulo, go to stomperprojections.com. I've always sworn by these projections. I think they're unique. They don't just kind of fit into a narrative or like a routine display of expectations when it comes to numbers. Steve does his own number crunching. He's a wizard with numbers. He's a software engineer. He knows a lot about this stuff. Go to stomperprojections.com and see what you think for yourself. I've also had a lot of beefs with projections. I think they're just kind of rudimentary, but I understand why they exist. I just don't think it's necessary. But with Steve, he gets radical with it, and that's why I like it, Deary.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you go into a lot of different pages, and it's not like, people are terrible at projections. People put a lot of work into it. So many of them are similar, and then somebody, there's always that one website or that one writer that just downgrades everybody. I like Steve. I love Steve's Stomper Projections.
Oh, I love Steve.
I've loved him since we've ever done them. Steve's a great guy, huge supporter of the show, and he's very meticulous with it. And some of them are wild, but they're exciting, and they're not far off either in the end.
Damn, Skippy, dude. I love what you're saying there. I love what you're throwing down. So here it is. I pulled it up live. Whoop. Look at that. Whoop, there's us. Oh, we're down there. Hi. Okay, so let me zoom this in a tad. I'll tighten that up. All right, so let's start it off. Let's take it from the top. Let's just have some fun with it. So Aaron Judge right here. He's projected for 51 home runs. Shine or Ride the Pine on 51 home runs in 2023 for Aaron Judge, Deary.
Jesus Christ, that's so many home runs. I'm going to ride the Pine. I think he easily hits over 40, but, 51's crazy. He had 52 in his rookie year. Bank 40 home runs for him. There's also a health thing to it. 21 in 2022, he was very healthy. He always missed time in years before that. So, if he gets 650 plate appearances, I guess 50 would be in the realm of possibility. But I'm going to say he sits closer to 45 this year. So I'm going to ride the Pine.
Yeah, I'm going to ride the Pine too, man. It's a big number. The dead ball era is here, and they're trying to change the game. Even though he has epic power, he's got his deal. And the classic move is to just kind of go back a bit. After you get your deal. You get your deal, you get comfy, you feel like you're set for life, you just lose that edge. There's no way he could repeat that edge that he had for so much of 2022, Deary. It was consistent, and it was super impressive.
Yeah, I haven't done my outfield projections yet, but he's probably going to sit around 45, 46 home runs for me.
I like it. All right, let's move on to the next player. Let's go on now. We'll just randomly roll. Oh, look at this. Adolis Garcia, our old pal, who we both drafted last year in at least Glarf or the Palazzo Invitational. I remember that we both were like, oh, we both drafted him. How about that? We're looking at 21 steals in 2023 for Adolis Garcia. Shine around the pine on 21 steals.
I'm gonna shine that. Adolis had a really nice season last year. A lot of people didn't think he was gonna bounce back, after that 21 season, that he was gonna repeat it, and he arguably had a better season last year. 25 steals last year, 16 the year before. I don't have it in front of me what his percentage rate was, but thinking that there's going to be more steals this year, I think he sits closer to 23 to 25. The big issue, and this is something that I got to give a shout out to Chris Towers. He was talking about this. I was listening to a pod the other day about the Rangers, and Chris Woodward was a manager that ran a lot. Bruce Bochy historically was not a guy that ran a lot. So, I mean, you're going to have to get with the times, Bochy. This is a team that can run, have speed on the team, and hopefully Adolis Garcia does have the chance to run. So I'm going to say shine on this.
Yeah, I'm going to shine it. I think he's going to have a great year in terms of speed and power. He is. In one of the most textbook ways possible, Adolis Garcia is who he is. And I think it's actually a consistent, basic line. 20 homers, 20 steals every year. But I think he can pop over 21. I'm going to take the over. I'm shining Adolis Garcia steals. All right. Jaybird just brought up Alek Manoah. So let's go to Alek Manoah. Wow. The projection here is 220 innings pitched. That's a huge number. Deary, could we shine 220 innings pitched from Alek Manoah?
No, I think he's probably going to sit below 200. I think the Blue Jays get pretty close to running away with the division this year. I think the Yankees are going to struggle early on finding out the core of what their team is going to look like. And I think the Blue Jays are going to be in a position where they're looking towards the playoffs more than anything. And they're going to, be very careful with the limit of their pitchers and the usage of their guys. So I'd be surprised actually if he gets to 200. I think it's going to be a notch below that. So anything above 200 would actually kind of be a little scary to me for a guy that's that young.
Pitched 196 last year, Deary, so he wasn't that far off, but he's no Sandy Alcantara. I mean, Sandy Alcantara had 228 last year, and that was ahead of the second place Aaron Nola, who had 205. I'm going to say ride the pine in this, but I think it's very close. I think Manoah could get to 215 innings pitched. I really do. I just think it's going to be a little short of 220, but much.
I think another thing that might help him out, I'd like to, it'd be interesting to project what he ends up with for a K percentage. So last year, his K per 9 was an 8.24, which is far less than what he did in his short minor league, stint, and then also in 2021. So if you're not striking out a ton of guys, you're probably throwing less pitches, which means you're most likely getting more innings pitched. So that'll be an interesting take to look towards. So I think he gets close to it.
Wow, dude.
Impressive. Out of Rhythm Sports says, I'm not drafting any White Sox this year after last year's hype. I can understand that. He wants to know, where's Luis Roberts to Mullins on that list? Okay. Those are two fun guys we could look at. Luis Robert or Cedric Mullins. Let's go over to outfielders here on Stomper Projections, brought to you by Steve Paulo, the master of everything. He owns the world. You guys know that about Steve Paulo. Cedric Mullins right here. There he is. Wow, he's 30th according to the ranks, just if you're curious about Steve's ranks. He's going to hit 311 this year. Is that what that says? Wow, Deary.
Wait,
no,
what?
That's his BABIP. No, that's his BABIP. All right, slow down. I'm freaking. Well, he's got his average, OBP, and slugging, and then
there's going to be 3 guys that bat 311.
I got to organize. Okay, so he's going to hit 273 in 2023, Deary. Shine around the pine on Cedric Mullins hitting 273 this year.
Oh, yeah, it's almost like you're taking the median of 2021 and 2022. 2021 batted 291. 22 batted 258. What would you say is that? 270?
273.
Man, I like Baltimore. I think they're a couple years away, and some pitching prospects, and maybe some
couple years away, really,
from being.
I think they're closer.
I like some of the moves they did in pitching by getting some veteran guys. I love the young talent. Can't wait till Connor Norby gets up on this team to fill that second base spot for them. Yeah, oh man, I like Cedric Mullins a ton. I'm going to ride the pine. I think he sits a little below that, but looking at some of these other projections, ATC and Steamer and Zips and stuff like that on Fangraphs, have him closer to like a 252.
Too many cooks. Tuesday's gone.
Too many cooks.
Deary's having a tough internet night, so everyone please forgive him. But we're still rocking a great show here. I'm going to shine this. I think 273 for Cedric Mullins is very doable. His breakout year in 2021, he hit 291 at a 360 OBP. He struck out 18% of the time. Last year, he struck out 18% of the time. That hasn't changed. I just think he got a little more unlucky last year. His BABIP dropped about 20-plus points from 2021 to 2022, from 322 to 299. So I think Mullins could bounce back and at least cover that 273 threshold. I'm going to shine Cedric Mullins, 273 batting average, Deary.
Oh, yeah.
Bing, 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 boom. We can't hear you, but we love you, Deary. We can't hear you, but we love you. All right, so we mentioned Luis Robert. At least that was brought up by my man Jamie over there. So let's go to Luis Robert. Let's find him. Here he is, ranked 111th overall by Steve Paulo on Stopper Projections. This season, Luis Robert is scheduled to hit 20 home runs. He's also... Oh, here's Deary. Hey, buddy. Hi. You're just in time. We're firing up Luis Robert here. Luis Robert, 20 home runs. 20 home runs for Luis Robert. Shine or ride the pine?
That's a shine for me.
Ooh.
Absolute shine. Let me go off script a little bit here. I was looking at like who could be a guy that could end up being the number one overall fantasy player that is like outside top 30 or top 40. Last year, Judge ADP was 35. Guerrero the year before that was 47. Year before that was Freddie Freeman. It's very rare that we get the guy that's a top 5 ADP end up being the number one guy. I wrote a list of 3 guys that would have the potential to do it, and it's an insane fantasy take, but Luis Robert was on this list. And over 20 home runs is absolutely doable for Luis Robert. Got to stay healthy, though.
Yep, got to stay healthy. Too talented for me, barring some catastrophe injury-wise. And that Tony La Russa is gone. I do think that played a huge role in why the White Sox were not as good. I really, really do. Saw some life from Yohan Moncada and some others at the end of the season after La Russa stepped aside. La Russa was given such a deal, too, because he totally failed. He totally blew it. Everyone knows it, but they were like, he's having some heart troubles. He's going to step aside. No.
You have failed.
La Russa, you failed. You blew it, dude.
What the hell were they doing? White Sox should have won the division last year and just underperformed. And I truly believe a lot of that had to do with him. And injury as well.
Absolutely. The clubhouse matters, especially with a season as long as baseball, 162 damn games. You got to have a clubhouse that is operating in a functional manner. And that just wasn't the case. Tony La Russa used to have it, but sometimes you lose it, and he lost it. All right, we'll do a couple more. Shine or ride the pine here, where we try to say, are we going to shine it, meaning we're taking the over, or are we going to ride the pine by taking the under? That was Luis Robert at 20. We both agreed 20 home runs, over for him. Let's spin the wheel. I'm just going to randomly go. Trace Thompson? No, come on, that's boring. Let's try another one.
Trace Thompson.
A lot of White Sox showing up here. Oh, how about this one? Seiya Suzuki this year. Seiya Suzuki, I was excited when he showed up last year. He was mildly disappointing. Did have some injury issues, so I'll spare him that. This season, Seiya Suzuki is penciled in for a 337 OBP. Shine around the pine on Suzuki's OBP at 337.
Let's see. I'm trying to bring up what was his OBP last year? I'm trying to bring that up.
Last year, he finished right around there. I think it was at 333. So it's not
336. I'm going to shine this. The injury issue definitely hurt him. He was much better down the stretch. He's a guy who had close to 10% walk rate last year. I think we're going to see closer to 20 home runs if he's healthy. He's also going to give you some decent bag stealing as well. I mean, he's a guy who could be a really, really good value. I don't love the lineup, but I'm going to shine this one.
Yeah, I'm going to shine this too. I think there's more talent in there that we didn't get to see. There's always the adjustment. It is a big change, even if you're a dominant or elite player over in Asia. Seiya Suzuki's coming over, had the injury issue that did set him back, I believe. But barring that, he's fresh. He's got a new lineup. that it has Dansby Swanson in it now. And Eric Hosmer. I mean, that's huge. And Cody Bellinger. It's a different looking lineup for the Cubs. And I think that Seiya Suzuki is going to be a key part of that. If he hits in the middle of that order, he's going to have an OBP above 337. I'm taking shine on Seiya Suzuki's 337 OBP. Now, you know me. Let's go back to the pitching side, Deary. We need to do the pitcher.
This lineup's the most boomer bust lineup in the league because it's like, what do you like? Is there going to be like Dansby had an amazing season last year. Now he's moving parks, moving to a new team. Same thing with Cody Bellinger, who's just been absolute trash for the last year and a half. Things could go really well, or it could be an absolute garbage fire.
I love garbage fires. Those are the best. All right, let's go with Shane McClanahan, who had an incredible run for most of 2022. Kind of flamed out at the end of the season last year, but still a great season. Deary, are you going to take the over, shine, or ride the pine on 22 quality starts from Shane McClanahan this season?
Ooh, 22 quality starts. I mean, he's probably going to get anywhere from 30 to 32 starts, depending if he's healthy. I mean, 166 innings last year, and he was really, really good. Obviously, the schedule's
it's a tough one.
I'm gonna shine it. I'm gonna shine it. I really believe in him.
Hey!
Guy who doesn't walk a ton of people. BABIP is really, really nice last year. He was incredible in the minors. Usage is going to go up a little bit. I know the Rays are going to Ray, but they're also going to need to try to, compete with a. So I think he ends up getting close to 185 innings, and if he's healthy enough, I'm going to go with 22 is good. I think he's a guy who's going to be a top 5 Cy Young guy if he repeats what he did last year.
Woo! All right.
Welcome to hell.
I think he's going to top this number as well. It's not easy to do, and there's always the letdown season. He's still young. There could be adjustments made to him this year. We're like, we're going to take advantage of him in this way. But I think his stuff is so nasty that he's still going to thrive. I think 23 quality starts, I'm going to shine it. I'm doing it. It's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight, I think, but I'm taking it. Gamesh, Steve checking in saying, shine or ride the pine? 5 blocked free throws per game for Vlade Divac in NBA 2K for a Sega Dreamcast? Yes. When we used to play, oh my God, on the Sega Dreamcast, the original NBA 2K when it came out, and we played it every day, me and Guile. Yeah. And there was a glitch in the game where you could block free throws. It was so stupid. You could just jump up in the free throw lane. Yeah, we wouldn't do it because it would ruin the game, but we did find it out. And if somebody was like drunk or like getting their ass beat and was annoyed, they just start doing it to. We would do it to one another. It was so stupid.
Sega Dreamcast. It's a great game. But
wow. The Dreamcast. When the Dreamcast came out, man,
it was revolutionary. Yeah,
it was. NFL 2K, NBA 2K. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Woo! Man, it was exciting. Oh, crap. Okay. And Steve also says, drop trow and show off your Mervis. That is a euphemism for Matt Mervis and dongs. I like it. All right. Let's do one more. Woo! Let's go with, how about Lucas Giolito? That's a fun guy to look at, right?
Yeah, especially when you predict he's going to win a Cy Young in 2022 and ends up being one of the worst draft picks anyone's ever made. God damn it.
Oh, dude.
He was awful last
I think
year.
you're being a little hard on yourself, but he definitely let some people down. I think that's fair to say, right? Okay, so 180 innings. I think that's too easy. I think that's a lock. That's too easy. Let's try something else. Let's go over to his rates. Yeah. Ooh, wow. A 1.23 whip? Deary, shine or ride the pine on a 1.23 whip for Lucas Giolito this year. Well, that is high.
I mean, God, his walk rate has just been like all over the place. And yeah, he got hit hard last year. But that's a high whip. I mean, it can't be any.
Can't be any worse than something. I know that. He's going to say it can't be any worse than Taco Bell after 2 a.m. Oh, poor Deary. Don't get upset, Deary. You do a great job. Sean Ride the Pine on that whip, 123. I bet he's gonna go under. You're gonna take the under, right? I'm taking the under. I'm gonna shine that he has a whip of less than 1.23 this year. In fact, I am super confident in it. Giolito is just not a 1.23 whip kind of guy. He's not a 4 ERA pitcher. He should be at least a 3.50 ERA pitcher. And I think last year was about as worse as it gets for him. And now, as he comes into his 29-year-old prime that he's in, it's time to get radical and make this the season of Lucas Giolito. I think this is the year, Deary, where you could predict a Cy Young. I really believe it.
Whatever, motherfucker!
Okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. But all I know is that was Shine or Ride the Pine. That was a lot of fun. So sorry about Deary's internet. Yeah, Steve says, can't be any worse than Deary's internet connection. Dang. Poor Deary. He didn't deserve this because we've had a great show. It's been a great comeback show. Kicking off the 2023 preview with just a little taste of what we're looking at. A little dabble with the fantasy takes. Some Shine or Ride the Pine is always fun. You guys chime in. Drop the comments in the video. Shine or Ride the Pine. Do you agree or disagree? Deary, by the way, did you go under or over on that Giolito whip?
He's going to sit at 1.21.
Okay. That's a shine.
I think he's a 4 ERA again this year. It's not going to be as bad as last year. But I don't think there's a ton of progression.
No, I think while you were away, I was saying last year was as worse as it gets, as bad as it gets. This is going to be a great comeback year for Giolito. There's no way he could be as bad as he was last year. I just do not believe that. He's too talented. He works too hard. He's developing his grips. He's trying to make changes for the better. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe he tinkers too much. I will say that. He does love to tinker.
Well, yeah, I was reading something a couple weeks ago about and this is something I always notice with him is it seems like he short arms his throwing, and he was trying to make a big change to that in the offseason. So it could be like a tinker that really helps him out, or it's like too much fucking tinkering.
Tinker stinker. Don't do it. Don't go overboard. Keep it real. There it is. That's the show. It's the first Palazzo podcast of 2023 for the original edition where me and Deary get together. Woo! We did it! Shine or Ride the Pine, the same fantasy takes. Leading off, all the classics are here. We brought you what we do, and we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure if you're new to the show, please subscribe to this video. Subscribe to our channel. Like it. Blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. If you like what we do, just support us with the free things that you can do to support us. I'll support you. I will. I'd like to. I'd like you. Deary, any final thoughts today?
It was so great to get back at it, and I'm excited for next week. All of you that were in the chat, thank you so much. I mean, it's good to see that we have not been forgotten.
It is. You know what? That's a really nice way to put it, Deary. I completely agree. It is nice to have the interaction. Makes it everything. I mean, we'll do the show together because we like talking about stuff, me and Deary, but the interaction just takes it up another level. So thank you, everybody. Nice debut show. Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah, give me 2.
That's going to do it for this one. Sound Money says, you're welcome. Thank you. Jay Bird gave us a thumbs up. You guys are sweet. You sweeties. I'm now going to turn it over to the one and only Russell Crowe. Take care, everybody.
Right, lads. Now, I know there's not a faint heart among you. And I know you're as anxious as I am to get into close action. But we must bring him right up beside us before we spring this trap. That will test our nerve. And discipline will count just as much as courage. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. And they will sell their lives dearly. They mean to take us as a prize. And we are worth more to them undamaged. Their greed will be their downfall. England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his